And a very warm welcome to The Form, your weekly edition of all things race previews. We're going to be highlighting some of the key races come the weekend. We're going to be highlighting those races with our form analysts, Aidan Rodley, Leith Innes and Bevan Sweeney. A very good morning to all of you. Let's have a look at what we're looking forward to this morning. The Ellerslie preview. We've got jumps action at Trentham. We'll be sinking our teeth into that. Our race trackers, Kiwis across the ditch, a big weekend in Queensland. Plus, we wrap things up with the all-important best bets. It's the final meeting of the season at headquarters Ellerslie, and Leith Innes will bring you in at this point to talk us through the weather and track conditions. Obviously a fair amount of rain during the week.
Yeah, morning Em. Obviously Thursday morning, the track's rated a soft 6 at the moment. We had 46 mils of rain last night, and between now and Saturday morning, hopefully the track gets back to that soft 5. But look, there's a little bit of rain still to come on Friday morning as well. Yeah,
we'll watch with anticipation around track conditions there at Ellerslie. There's a pretty juicy open 1400 metre race on the programme. Great to see such good horses still in work this late in the season. And it's open at the top end, isn't it, with Spencer, Sterling Express, Bourbon Empress, all quality gallopers coming to Ellerslie on Saturday. We'll start with a replay of Sterling Express. And Aidan, as we bring you in, this was a very good win, and it made it back-to-back wins for the preparation.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it was very formulaic of the first win where Warren Kennedy was able to stick to the inside and Kate Hercock had done exactly the same the start before. Warren sticks with the horse, so going really well. Has won 6 of 16. And obviously it's a key form line leading into this as well. And Previews run really well. Dusty Rhodes, Pericles, Bourbon Empress, all very good and behind. I thought Bourbon Empress with the big drop in weight was a key player here, Lee.
Yeah, certainly. She just peaked on a run a little bit at the 100 metres there. Warren rode his horse well, got all favours on the inside. Look, only goes up half a kilo from 55.5 to 56 this week, so still a big player in the race.
I thought all the runs in that race were good outside Grangolo, who I thought was a little bit disappointing. I think the ride won the race. I think there was excuses around Pericles and Bourbon Empress. I thought they had their excuses in the run. Spencer adds great interest in the north on Saturday. He rated himself this day, and just watch him on the line. He's sort of staring at the crowd like, look at me. He walked into the bird cage like a bull. He was ready to go. He blew a decent field off the racetrack. Meritable was very good coming back at him. He's got 59, which is a big impost against a couple of talented horses down on the minimum, but man, he returned on fire, Leith, this horse, and he's got a lot of look at me about him.
Yeah, certainly. He's a proper winter galloper. He's going to be interesting this Saturday, though. First time right-handed. He's still got the 59 kilos to carry, and he isn't going to get those conditions that he does like either.
Yeah, Meritable wasn't too bad just in behind. It does come in a kilogram better, but Spencer's a class horse. Remember him winning, the Group 3 sprints, spring sprint in the spring. He's won 7 of 20. It was a terrific return. Yeah, this is different though, isn't it? To probably better track conditions at Ellerslie against a pretty formidable bunch of Northerners. I really rate Spencer, but just how he fits into this, we'll know more on Saturday, Emily.
Yeah, we certainly will. Sterling Express looks like a horse on the rise based on what he's done this campaign so far. Aidan was out at track work and asked Mark Brosnan about the preparation and his performances so far.
They've been very good performances, but he hasn't gone around a horse, so yeah, there's a little bit of element of doubt there. He hasn't had a hard race as such, but the way he's done it has been quite impressive. Yeah.
Really happy with him. Came through the last run really well. Obviously it's a bit touch and go with the weather at the moment. This will be his last run before going out, and would have liked it to have been a mile, but he's not a fan of a wet track, so 1400 it is.
He didn't need much, but yeah, popped him over a couple of logs with Nick yesterday, so sharpen him up a bit hopefully, and yeah, have a bit of a gallop this morning, and that'll do him, I think. Yeah.
A little bit of a change to the situation to last week at Te Rapa, but what can you expect this weekend at Ellerslie?
Well, hopefully he's on the pace and loving it. Yeah.
Both horses are flying. Grangolo, she just got a bit fresh last start and raced a bit keen behind the speed there, and she just was found wanting a little bit late. But look, we'll look to ride her a little quieter this week and just give her a chance to breathe and find that rhythm to give her every chance to run the 14 out strong. She's worked well. We've just kept her ticking over. She's a big mare that doesn't take a lot of work, very clean-winded mare. So we're thinking she's won round Ellerslie. She loves the quicker ground there. there. A little bit of love. Probably, Ellerslie has not been quite as happy as hunting field yet, but look, he's a horse that he's racing well. He's come out of a strong form race, back to the 1400 where he's probably been his pet distance, and we think he'll be hitting the line. Any rain's going to aid his chance, and he's a horse when he finds form, he usually keeps his form.
She's had a nice freshen up from her last run. She's been working really well, as I've heard, and same trip, so hopefully go on better.
Yeah, and preview really good last time out and behind Sterling Express, and that's where I'm going to find my top selection. I was very keen on Spencer last time, made him my bet of the weekend, but I'm going to go against him this week. I'm going to go with Bourbon Empress. I just love this formula of having Rihan Goiram on a horse who's dropping in weight. Now 51 kilograms on a horse who's won a Group 2 Ritual Mile and who can handle a wet track. So Bourbon Empress on top for me.
Yeah, I'm with you as well, Rod. Look, she just peaked on her run last start. 51 kilos. Look, she's getting 8 kilos off Spencer and 5 off Sterling Express. I think the market's wrong. They open her at $7. She's already into $5.50, so I think she'll end up a clear favourite in the race.
I don't think Spencer will be scared of any of the Northerners, to be fair. Look, he beat a better field than this at Te Rapa on a soft track. He's actually won 4 on soft ground. The only real niggle in my mind clearly is the weight, which last year he was carrying the 54.5, 55 into these good quality races. Ellerslie, I don't think they'll be overly bother him now as a 20-start horse. I think he'll be fine. So I'll go with Spencer. He was just so good, so big, bold and awesome at his fresh up run. I think he can probably back it up. But it is a bit of a niggle where he gets to in the weights as he heads to an Open Eki Cup and maybe down to Riccarton.
The next race that we get to in our preview is the open race over the 2100 metres, another really wide open affair. You can see at the top Can't Hunter, Fly My Way and Atarangi all in the mix, but single figures further down through a number of contenders. I guess Atarangi brings that last start victory to the name. This is a good race to watch, Aidan, because a number of the key contenders come through this.
Yeah, absolutely they do. Atarangi's run was very good, obviously sweeping. You've got to give real credit to what Can't Hunter's been doing because, we know how good quality a horse Outback Opal is. Has run 3rd and 4th in Travis Stakes in the last 2 years at Group 2 level, but Can't Hunter's actually beaten Outback Opal home in the last 2, right down the outside. Maybe in better ground this day. It was a very good run from Atarangi. It's a key form race, Leith.
Yeah, certainly. For some reason, the inside track at Ellerslie, it was a no-go zone. It was probably a two lengths sort of slow lane. You had to be right in the centre to the out. I think the track's going to play a lot better this Saturday, and I thought the run of Outback Opal was really good.
Let's not say maybe. The inside part of the track was nigh on impossible to win on. So you had to be out in the middle of the track. So I thought Outback Opal was very, very good being down in the west of it under Warren Kennedy. And I think even with the 57 maybe coming slightly back in trip, he'll improve markedly into Saturday's racing.
Let's hear from the connections around this field in the Open 2100 metre event. We start once again with Mark Brosnan and we find out more about Fly My Way's prep.
Yeah, we give him a bit of freshen up after the Rotorua Cup. He just didn't cop the track. So up there on Saturday, the track should be a lot better and hopefully it'll go well. Yeah.
Okay, and what about Diamond Jack? What are your expectations there?
He probably wants a wetter track, but there's not many races around for him, so we're just going to run him. Hopefully he'll be running on well. Yeah.
Okay, who's the pick of the 3, Mark?
Between Fly My Way and Outback Opal, but probably leaning towards Fly My Way, yeah.
This first run over ground was Rotorua Cup, was very heavy. Then we went down to New Plymouth. He was improved again. He's sort of taking small steps as preparation. Back on a slightly better track. Look, he should be nearing his best now. His work's been good. And I'd like to think from the soft gate, Ace gets on very well with him. He should be very competitive.
He schooled yesterday. Nick Downs sent him over flights and gave him a good workout. So he's very, very well.
Yep. I guess he's hard fit if he's doing that jumping at this point of preparation.
Yes, it just gives him something different rather than going round and round in circles. He loves it, but we're trying to look for a hurdle race. But while he's going so nicely on the flat, we'll keep him there. We've got the same rider on. We'll be down in the weights again. So looking for a nice positive run, but he's happy.
Yeah, first time in open company. He got home well from back in the field, one of the few to close well in the race. So I think third up, stepping up to 2100 metres is going to suit. He's going to get in nice and light at the weights, and should be peaking. And he's run well at Ellerslie before, so I think it's not the strongest open handicap on Saturday, and he should be a strong winning chance.
He's in good order. He had that hurdle trial last Monday, and it's really switched him on. His last few runs haven't been that impressive, but back onto a better surface is certainly going to be ideal for him on Saturday.
Jeez, it's a tricky race, isn't it? For mine, I wrote down to it, we're doing guesswork in this race. I really respect Mark Brosnan's hand in the race, and obviously he was picking between Outback Opal and Fly My Way. I'm going to go the other way because it's my formula again. It's the Rihan Goyrim taking big weight off a horse. This horse carried 60 last time out, drops to 54 kilograms, visor blinkers come off. I just think third up, but Diamond Jack might be capable of doing something here. But boy, it's a tricky race, Lee.
Yeah, he gave you a free tip, and it wasn't Diamond Jack. So, look, I'm going to go Outback Opal. I think the 3 kilos off Fly My Way is probably the bet for me in this Saturday.
I completely agree. I just think Outback Opal was hampered by being down on the inside in a slightly weirdly run race. I think from a decent gate and a slightly bigger field, I think Outback Opal will be the one on Saturday, but I agree with the boys here. It's a pretty tricky race to assess.
The 3-year-olds do their thing in race number 7, and top of the book there's a couple of obvious chances in the form of Archipelago and Britannia Gold. Obviously Tristan Moodley takes the kilo off. Kelly Myers aboard your current favourite for Simon and Katrina Alexander. Let's watch a replay of Archipelago, and Aidan, as we bring you in for this, obviously it was a pretty comfortable win at Te Rapa, and certainly was building to this victory with a couple of good placings prior to that.
I agree entirely. The 2 placings leading in had been saying that, this horse, she was on the cusp of doing something like this. And behind Peerless, maybe still a little bit disappointing on what we'd seen the previous start. Moxie had been a previous start winner, and Sacred Zed, I don't know, just it wasn't the same horse as what we saw at Rotorua at the start before, but this time round, again, drops nicely in weight. It's a key form line, Lee.
Yeah, it certainly is. It was a very good ride by Kelly Myers up front. She stacked them up and sprinted home. And like Archipelago, she's gone well at Ellerslie before as well. So she gets in off a nice weight. And, she's going to be hard to beat with that draw as well.
Sort of assess that race as them all being pretty even because there was not a lot of change. I think the ride again won it off the front with not a lot of tempo, running a 124 and change at Te Rapa's not overly slick. So I thought the ride won it. So the other performances in behind sort of just evened up. Britannia Gold though, this is a really good performance at Ellerslie. I think there's a fair bit of upside around this particular horse. The Richardson and Norvale team was beaten a short margin. Obviously there was a little bit of interference. It was on pace this day. Whether they go forward from the gate on Saturday, not really 100% sure, but in an even go again here, Leith. This is a horse with a fair bit of upside as it gets into its 4-year-old season.
Yeah, she was really good. She was having her first run around Ellerslie. Obviously Tristan gets a kilo off her this week. I think the best thing about it, she gets to 1400 metres, it's really going to suit her. And like you said, in the home straight then, she didn't have all favours. She got knocked around a little bit late, and look, she's only a 3-year-old filly, so it's a good effort and a good rating 75 race.
I agree. Not beaten much at all. We're going to get a really good push from Rogan Norville very shortly about her chances. And prior to that, she'd run 6th in a Wellington Guineas in a really meritorious one, and 7th in a Cambridge Breeder Stakes, beating home the likes of Celestial Wonder, Albarossa, who's a race rival here. So a lot of upside around Britannia Gold.
Yes, certainly is. I know the stable have a really high opinion of her. Let's hear from the connections, and we start with those of Britannia Gold. Rogan Norvell talking about the preparation so far and what they make of it.
Yeah, she's going super. She's come on beautiful from her last runs. Her work leading into this race this weekend has been exceptional, so I can't fault her at this stage.
Yeah, look, he's been to Ellerslie before in the past and raced competitively. He's racing really well without a lot of luck. 2 starts back, he sort of got stopped in his tracks a wee bit up the straight there, and then last start it was a wee bit of leader-dictated race where they went quiet and the leader kicked away on the fence there, and he got back and made really good ground. And he's racing well. He just needs a good barrier draw and the right sort of run, and he's certainly going to be an each-way chance. The horse is holding up to a long preparation well. He knows his way around Ellerslie, and he's going to appreciate the quicker ground.
Yeah, look, her fresh up run over 1100 was good. Probably a little bit sharp for her over the 1100. I think the 1400 metres on Saturday will suit. And look, she's been running in some pretty high quality 3-year-old races and should be a good each way chance if she draws well.
Yeah, Rianne's riding very well, takes 3 kilos off her back. She probably would, she'll be enjoying this rain. But, Ellerslie races so well. She might want it a little bit wetter, but, she won very good 2 starts back. Last start didn't go to plan, but, she's a nice filly going forward.
What about Bellarista? A couple of runs in this preparation. McNabb aboard?
Yeah, McNabb's won her before. Liked her last start. Earmuffs come off. Pre-race airs go on. I think she's sort of ready to find that good form again. She's a nice filly.
It did actually swap jockeys. McNabb is on Ortega and Rehan Goyram's on Bellarista. There for Stephen Marsh's 2 runners. Just going into the form, I thought Thusa was a clear improver of a very good 4th placing last time out. Beat home the horse who was 5th in that race, Velocious, who has come out and won at Te Rapa since, goes over to Australia this weekend and competes in a Queensland day play up against Detrimental, a former Kiwi, who Thusa was beating home a few starts ago as well. So I think Thusa's bringing super form. Looks to be a great winning chance for mine.
Yeah, obviously Archipelago is going to be awfully hard to beat from barrier 3, but if Trisha Moodley can just get across and get a nice run somewhere, I think Britannia Gold, there's plenty of upside in here, and I think the step up to 1400 metres will really suit her this week.
I agree with Aidan, actually. I think the 3-year-old filly by Elmine Zor has a lot of upside. Thusa from a decent sort of gut. Actually, see in my form book I print off the TV that Michael McNabb's claiming 3 on Saturday on Ortega, and if that's the case, you want to put that in your first 4s, but I don't think it's correct.
No, I don't think that's the case at all, Bevan. Well, that's it for our Ellerslie preview. Catch all of the action at the earlier start time of 10:30 a.m, all on your big Saturday. You're back with us and it's straight into our Trentham preview. We want to hear about the weather conditions, and Bevan, you're the man for the job. What's been happening there in the central districts?
Abysmal would be the answer, Emily. Last time we were there, I know they were quite concerned about holding the jumps racing because the inside was so firm. It won't be. It'll be better than the course proper. They've had 40-odd mils. In the last 24 hours, it's a heavy 10. It won't be getting any better. If anything, it'll be getting worse. And it'll be a tough old day at Trentham on Saturday, a little bit old school, Em.
Let's get into our preview, and we kick things off with the Manawatu hurdle. It's race number 3 of the afternoon, and Very Flash is at the top of the book at 280. You've got Billy Boy, Run Jacko Run, Never Look Back in the single figures as well. Bevan, we want to talk about a key replay, and that comes around our favourite in Very Flash. This was a tough effort last time.
Yeah, well, he's just a really good horse, whether it be on the flat or at the hurling game. He's never really been tested at the elite level. Maybe it is his time this year as a 10-year-old. He's by Zed. He handles wet track conditions. Corey was aboard at this particular start. The second horse is really good, Obrigado. And I think there's just a set-up run for Jacko Run here, boys. But he's just a good horse. When you win, 15, you've got to be pretty good, and he certainly is.
Yeah, the best thing about him, he's got that flat ability, and it obviously helps once you get over those jumps. Corey Wild stays on, gets the 3 kilos off as well.
Yeah, I spoke to Corey earlier this week as well. He's really confident. That hurdle record's outstanding. He's won 4 of 8, so he's a really accomplished jumper in the right stable. And the boys talking about that flat ability. Yeah, there's a lot of wins, 15 of them, a lot of them on the flat as well. And of course, the big brother to Very Elegant.
Well, this race is intriguing, isn't it? With West Coast coming off the back of another quiet trial into the hurdles, when we know how good he is when he gets up to the steeplechase. But this 2,500 metres will run like 3,500. So not willing to ride him off, but I'm just suspicious around Run Jacko Run. Of course, he was second in last year's Grand National. He's had that a couple of flat runs. He was disappointing in the open hurdle. I thought that he could have done a little bit more, but he came off the bridle quickly. He's had that trial up at Cambridge, a trip away, Dean Parker. I'll just go with Run Jacko Run as a sneaky with that Kevin Myers factor at a little bit of odds.
Yeah, certainly Kevin Myers holds a good little play card in this race, but I'm with Very Flash. Look, Corey Wiles gets the 3 kilos off, loves the heavy track, loves Wellington's, plenty to like. $2.80, a little bit short, but I'm happy to take it.
Yeah, for mine too. I just thought it, he basically picked himself. Real respect around West Coast. He'll be coming up nicely for a crack at a 4th Grand National Steeplechase later on in the year.
Let's get to our next race that we preview, and it is the Manawatu Steeplechase. And there's a short-priced favourite in this next one, the form of Jesco. Was impressive when winning last time to the races. You've got Obrigado on the quick backup at 320. Al's Red Z in single figures, the only other at 9s. Let's look at one of those replays, and it is, of course, Jesco. Beat home Call Me Jack this day. This was a performance living up to expectations of the market. Very comfortable.
Oh, look, he chances the last, but the rest of them, it was a pretty picture throughout. And you watch him over the last, even though he sort of ploughs through that, the ears go straight up again. He gets a quick reminder and he is booming away. It's one of the better steeplechasing debuts I think I've seen in recent times. And, Sean's sticking around to ride this one, so Leith, that gives us a pretty strong guide.
Yeah, it certainly does. And obviously the Frat Club have bought into him as well during the week. The race is in the gold colours, and he's an exciting jumper. It is quite hard jumping from that sort of maiden win up to open class, but you can still see there he's class.
Yeah, he is. He looks as though he's the most progressive of any of these steeplechasers. He's been to the trials and won a flat trial leading into him. I thought he picked himself really hard to beat Jesco.
I'm going to go with Jesco. I think he is a real talent going forward, and they've been very patient with him. They've also got 48 in behind the scenes as a nice jumper, but this is the one I think will keep Sean in the saddle for an extended period of time. Could be very, very special.
Yeah, he's definitely the horse on the rise. Obviously, he's having his first start around the big chase fences at Wellington, but good trainers, good jockey. I'm happy to be on him this week.
Yeah, me too. I'm with Jesco as well.
Well, that wraps up our preview of Trentham, the key jumps races. You know the drill. Catch the action 10:30 a.m. on your big Saturday. It's all about our race trackers next. Hopefully you've got the pen and paper ready. Leith, we'll start with you. What have you got in the race tracker?
Yeah, I'm going to take you back to last week, Tiara. Cream Tart, the Hello Usain filly. She was a $220,000 buy for the Tony Pike stable. And Hello Usain, he's making an impact. He's had 7 different individual winners in New Zealand already. And this filly's a one you want to be following over the 3-year-old career. Could be a Kiwi slot horse, could be a 1,000 guineas horse.
I'm going to take you to Lazio on Saturday. The market indicated he wasn't ready to win. He had the 4 kilo claimer on him. It was a really high speed rating race, won by the inside runner. I'm a Brazen One with a really light weight. He just toddled around, but he almost got the job done with the big weight and not really ready. So look out for him, Open Eki Cup, Winter Cup. He's a serious winter horse.
Okay, for me, I'm going to take you back to the first at Tarapa last week. Look at the horse out wide here. I thought it was a really nice run from Ascension. Of the first 4 horses home, they've come from first, second, third, fourth in running. Ascension comes from outside that into that third spot with the quickest closing sectionals. I thought a really good return.
And for me, I went with Matewa from Wanganui on Saturday. A really good win for Craig Grills and Robbie Patterson. Certainly looks like there's more in store for this horse, and obviously was pretty good on the numbers as well post the day. Let's recap all of our race trackers. As you heard there from the team, we've got Leith with Cream Tart for Tony Pike, Bevan, Lazio, Ascension for Aidan, and Matewa for myself. Well, we've got a treat on Saturday with a Super Saturday coming in from Queensland. Obviously, the races were abandoned last week, and therefore we've got the 4 Group 1s this coming weekend. The Queensland Oaks, one of the highlights. Filia is in the mix in terms of the market. We want to talk about the Kiwis, though, and one of those Kiwis, Aidan, as we bring you in, is She's a Dealer. Struck a really heavy track at Randwick and was a runaway winner in that race.
Yeah, a really nice performance on Australian debut. George Rook sticks with the ship for Roger James and Robert Wellwood. I thought it was just a terrific run from a horse who, on Australian debut. They were shipping from Sydney to Brisbane on Wednesday, but by all accounts she's come through this run really well. I thought Lethe was a lot to like about this Australian debut from a key Kiwi.
Yeah, the best thing about it, she settled nice in the run. Obviously, she didn't really handle the heavy track either. And look, the winner's running again, Let's Fly. She's in this week, but she was receiving 4.5 kilos. So look, the weight swing's going to be in She's a Dealer's favour. By all accounts, she's travelled up to Brisbane really well, and 2,200 metres is really going to suit her.
I thought her leg must have fallen off after that performance to be put out at $51, $61. That's just disrespectful in the market in my mind, because that was a damn good effort, and look, I think she'll improve markedly out of that. So, hey, top 4, you get $7 at the present moment on the Kiwi. There is another ex-Kiwi moving out who I think might be quite a chance on Saturday as well, Manly.
You can never underestimate the New Zealand breds, can you? Michaela Sobieska is the travelling foreman for the Roger James Robert Wellwood stable, and we asked her about those travel plans getting from Sydney up to Queensland.
She's still in Sydney at John Thompson's in Randwick, and she's settled pretty well. I've been with her 2 weeks, and she's very easy mare to look after. Probably would be the easiest, actually. She loves her feed, loves her work, doesn't cause any trouble. She's beautiful.
A terrific run first up in Sydney as well. What will that do for her Queensland Oaks preparation? How much has it brought her on?
It was actually very heavy that day, and she did really well. The winner carried 4 kilos less than her, and she did really good job, so we were pretty stoked with that. And George stays on, and hopefully she will deliver, yeah.
I know you've got your fingers crossed. How cool would it be to win this Queensland Oaks this weekend?
Oh, it would be amazing. It would be probably the best finish of the season for us all, yeah.
So a lot of excitement in that Kingsclear stable around She's a Dealer, and it's got to be a bona fide chance. We even spoke about moving out. He used to be with Bill Thurlow, ran third in the Group 1 1,000 guineas last spring at Riccarton. And don't forget as well, Real Class, who did win the Group 2 Sir Patrick Hogan Stakes at Ellerslie as well. So there's a little bit of Kiwi influence. I stuck with the favourite though, guys. I thought the last out win was super in a key lead-up race. It seemed to be one of the best key lead-ups. Has won 4 of 6 and hard to beat. But yeah, let's hope one of those ex-Kiwis or the current Kiwi can fly our flag, Leith.
Yes, certainly. The top 2 are going to be awfully hard to beat. I think She's a Dealer. The trip up to 2,200 metres is really going to suit her. I'm not saying she can definitely win, but I'm happy to be on it. So she opened at $16 a place, and she's into a tens now. So I'm happy to take the place bet for sure.
Agree. That's $7 top 4. I wouldn't be scared of that. I went with moving out. I've liked the preparation. I thought the last start performance was good. She did throw in a shocker at one point, but I think she has a lot of upside. I know Bill thought a lot of her, and I'm hoping that she'll run a big race on Saturday.
The Stephen Marsh-trained Velocious is also across the Tasman and finds a pretty winnable race in the form of the Queensland Day Stakes. It's a listed event, and as you can see, Winner's Edge is top of the book for Mark Zahra and Nick Ryan. Haven't been forgotten about in the market. Velocious at $8.50 and tens. Let's go back and look at that last start victory, because this is the Velocious that we know. There was a couple of poor runs, but excuses, but this was back to what we know from her.
Yeah, she was able to settle a whole lot handier this day, wasn't she? Because she'd been missing starts in the previous couple, but we know what she did as a 2-year-old. Karaka Million, Sistine Mistakes. We know she's got that class about, and it was just a reassuring run this time round for the Go Racing Stephen Marsh team. Obviously, she's heading to Australia in the right form. She's fit. She gets into a race at set weights at 55 kilograms as a Group 1 winner, so nicely enough placed, but I don't know, there's just a few nagging doubts with me here, Leith.
Yeah, I'm with her actually this week. Look, she's travelled over well. Stephen Marsh, he's told me he can't fault her. She's going under, like, that last win might have given her a bit of confidence as well. You've got to remember, she's won 6 races from 12 starts. No one else in the field has.
I think it's really price directed for you personally, because there are some slightly dubious or niggly thoughts in your mind about a couple of her performances, but she was great last time. She was great, fresh up. $10 seems to be an over to me in what isn't a race that is overly strong. And she's been in really strong company, Emily, through her career, and she has won 2 this preparation, so $10 looks okay.
Yeah, $10 does look okay, and I think those undercard races, the quality isn't quite what we know from other carnivals, the spring and the autumn in Sydney and Melbourne. Let's go and find out what Stephen Marsh has to say about her last start win, Velocious.
Yeah, look, she won very nicely at Te Rapa, beating the older horses. She's flown directly to Brisbane, which is good. She got over there well. She galloped on the course proper. Sam Weatherly in the saddle on Tuesday morning, galloped up really nicely, and draws have just come out. She's drawn 8. Sticky enough sort of a gate. Would have loved a real soft marble, but Ethan Brown on, very good jockey.
Nice to be able to have a shot at a good race again with her. Obviously, that was always in the back of your mind leading into that race, and with the way she won, it was probably a pretty easy yes. Let's push on.
Yeah, for sure, and it's such a nice race for her. It's a set weight, back to 3-year-old company. She gets them at 55. So yeah, it looks a lovely race for her. Sort of enough up and down form in the race, but if she puts her right foot forward, I think she's right on it.
Yeah, good on them for having a crack, and we wish them all the very best as well. She's got the class to be really competitive here as well. Interesting to see the ex-John Barry trained detrimental on Australian debut for new trainer Kelly Schweder as well in the same race. I've gone further up the book to the Victorian and Winner's Edge. Thought really good last time out at Caulfield. I'd run third in the Tobin Bronze in Adelaide the start before that, and has been to the jump outs and beaten Asphora in the lead up to this. So Winner's Edge for me, but fingers crossed that Velocious can fly our flag, Leith.
Yeah, Winner's Edge is definitely a top 3 chance. I like the each way play on Velocious. Look, she's won 6 from 12, never goes a bad race, confidence from her last win, and look, she's been ridden Tycoon, flying at the moment.
I'm going to go with the horse I've been following quite closely and was waiting for it to come back, and that is Gerringong for the Woodhouse and Bott team. Fresh up after around about a 4-month spell, ran second at a listed race at Scone. Money's coming for it. You could have got 6 on opening. It's into $3.70. The draw's an absolute nightmare, but the money is very strong for a talented filly.
Let's move along to the Queensland Derby, and it's a little bit of a case of throw a dart at the board and see where it lands, because this is one of the trickiest races on the programme. Obviously, if you're going with the Kiwis, and the expat Kiwi Statuario is the horse that you want to follow. But let's start with some selections. Aidan, where did you land with a tricky Queensland Derby?
I've gone with Form of Firm Agreement. I did last week as well. It's $14 this time last week, currently at $8.50. And obviously the lead-up form's been absolutely outstanding, except for that last run. You just be forgiving of that run getting too far back. The second in the Australian Derby is a key form line for mine, and I'm really liking Firm Agreement, although not really liking the shorter price league.
Yeah, the New Zealanders play a big hand in the race this week. Look, I'm going to go for the Waikato stallion Tavachi, King of Thunder. Look, he won a really good race 2 weeks ago, and he'll be peaking 2,400 metres will suit him this week as well.
I'm surprised you boys can remember what happened 7 days ago, because I regularly can't. I'm going to go with a bit of a blowout, and that is politely done. I love this done deal horse. Last couple of runs have been in the premier venues at Caulfield and also at Flemington. They've been good efforts. I think this horse will stay all day. $20 looks okay to me, so politely done for me.
We can't forget about the sprinters on Saturday. They take their place in the Kingsford Smith Cup, and it's a mouth-watering edition of the race. Jolly Star Giga Kick. They go head-to-head. Plenty of interest around Jolly Star. Giga Kick, though, was impressive when making ground fresh last time. Where did we land with the sprint race? Jolly Star, obviously, a fan favourite.
Yeah, that's where I landed. I was with her last week. Have the draws changed? And if so, I just don't remember drawing so wide last week when we previewed this, but she's high class. She's won 5 of 14, 1,000 guineas, a Newmarket sprint. So I'm with her. I've got real respect around the BCD group sprint runner-up Basusto as well, but Jolly Star for me, Leith.
Yeah, Basusto raced yesterday, Rod, so it won't be running on Saturday, but Jolly Star will be. And look, I think the Barrier 9, she's a mare now that needs a little bit of space. She doesn't like being hemmed up. Big roomy track at Eagle Farm will suit her, and I'm happy to be on her this week.
I deserted a couple of the Kiwis. I won't be deserting Jolly Star. I think this is a perfect setup for her, and I agree with Leith, that Barrier probably suits her now. She just needs clear air. Should get it Saturday, like her price as well.
Huge weekend coming your way from Eagle Farm. The 4 Group 1s, really looking forward to that. Let's get straight into our best bets. Leith, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to take you to race 1 at Ellerslie, and Judicial. Look, he's had 1 trial for the Ryan Foote and Ben Foote trained Yulong runner, previously trained by Peter Moody and Catherine Coleman. This horse has got gears. Take the $3 on Saturday. He should be winning race 1.
I'm going to stick with Jesco. The price is short though, just having a look in the tab, about $1.90, but very talented galloper on the flat program. If Turn It Up runs, $3 looks okay for mine.
Geez, a couple of nice selections, boys. I'm with you both. I'm going to go to this horse, Queen of Naples. It was a poly-track second last time out, but very good running in all the second quickest sectionals of the day. The winner, Avoriaz, was really smart, just coming through 1 on the inside. But I'd mark down after this, next up winner, and it gets to a really winnable race at Timaru on Sunday.
From Timaru to Eagle Farm, I've gone with Jolie Star. I think really well placed and obviously has the great fresh stats. James McDonald on board. He's been a Group 1 winning machine. Has all of the right parts to get victory in the Kingsford Smith Cup on Saturday. Let's go through and recap those best bets. You got the Whale, One Eye Bandit. That's at Addington on Friday. We then go, as we heard, Leith, Judicial, Bevan, Jesco, Jolly Star for myself, Aiden, Queen of Naples at Timaru on Sunday. And for Rosso, well, we got Tess, Monaco on Sunday, race number 5. Well, that's it from us here on The Form. Great to have your company. A big thank you to Bevan, Leith and Aiden. Best of luck on the weekend. A huge Super Saturday coming your way.